So on the 14th of October, Australia is having a voice referendum, right? So this is around giving indigenous peoples, right? First Nations and oh God, what's the term? There's islanders, the Torres Strait Islanders, right? A voice. So it will allow a committee to inform government on policies and decisions that affect those groups, right? Which you think that sounds fair, right? That sounds fair. But, with anything political, there are issues, right? So there's a Thomas Mayo who is saying, so he's a member of the Voice referendum party, the yes vote party. There's a yes vote party and a no vote party, obviously, right? He's part of the yes, and he's saying that there is a lot of hate speech online, right? A lot of hate speech and disinformation online, which to that, right, you gotta go, obviously, right? It's not a big fucking surprise that, that's it always happens, right? It's a big thing that was pointed out, right, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, that it was rife with bots, right? That these troll farms are behind a lot of posts that you see against all manner of political, discussion, right? And any kind of thing that's in the public eye, right? That you get these bots and troll farms that are trying to seed dissent. It's part and parcel with all of this shit. So it's a little bit surprising that these cats didn't take this into consideration. Now, obviously, it would be nice to be in a world where this shit doesn't happen, but we know we're not, right? We know what the world is. We know what all of these things are, right? It is, in part of what I do in the day job, right? You have to do SWOT analysis on things, right? So you're looking at the strengths and the weaknesses, the threats and advantages. So someone should have at the beginning gone, you know what, a big threat would be disinformation online, right? And there's clear ways to get around this. And there's a lot of people are saying that, on all sides, that it's this whole situation is not the clearest, right? And there's a member, an indigenous leader, Marcia Langton, right? She's pointed out that the prime minister hasn't really stated what happens if, the referendum is voted down, right? There's not a clear path laid out for what happens in either direction, which is, again, it's some foolishness. But, right, the big thing, create content to answer every aspect of what you're doing, right? That's the way you handle this information, right? You make everything you do clear and concise, right? So no one can, poke holes in. No one can go, oh, well, you don't do this, or you're lying about, because everything is clear. Right? That's what you have to do. Make every single thing clear. Break down every single point. Right? Have videos of, you know, the people involved talking about the minutiae. You know, you can do little clips for social, but also have full long form discussions on places like YouTube, on your website, right? Because a small little clip, a soundbite, it's nice, but it doesn't give someone the full picture. And with anything political, we know there's reams of paperwork, right? It's not just quick, clear things, right? There's so much. So talk about it, right? Talk about it all. Because once you do that, it makes it extremely difficult for people to say you're doing something completely different. Right. Now, I think something that is very baffling about this, why even have a referendum? Because it's been shown, right, that Australia has apologized to, I think it was in 2020, right? I believe it was 2020. They officially apologized to the Indigenous peoples about just all the horrific things that have been done to the First Nations peoples over the years and centuries. And the problem is, like, there was shit happening in the 80s, right? A lot of times when you look at like a lot of past, you know, injustices, it's, you know, not in your lifetime, right? Things happened before you were born, right? You know, when you think like Martin and Malcolm were assassinated in the 60s, which is still not that long ago, right? Still not that long ago. But and you know, there's been so many atrocities since, right? But a the you know, there's, oh gosh, you think about redlining in places like I think it was like San Francisco and Baltimore, you know, and other places, right? So there's just so many things that happen. But yeah, I think the Australian government were taking children and babies away from, you know, First Nation women and families, and forcing them into adoption, which is foul. It's horrendous. Right? So there's been so many things that have been happening to these peoples, these groups, that you just think, put them in the fucking constitution. They're not in the constitution, right? First, like, it's in the First Nation, right? They were there first. They were there first. So just put them in the constitution. Just put them in. There should be no question. There should be no vote to, I mean, we've been oppressing these people for years, for hundreds of years. Should we give them rights? Should we? I don't know. Let's put it to a no, just fucking do it. Just do it. That's the thing that baffles me. Now, I know, right? There is so much involved with all of this stuff. I've briefly read one article, well, two. I briefly read two articles. I've not done you know, intense research into this, but just on an ethical level, you just feel there's certain things that, you know, don't need a vote, because there are still racist, you know, entities, right? We know racism is not dead, right? I remember when Obama was voted in, like, the amount of times people would say to me, this shows racism is dead. And it's just like, you on crack? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This does not show that at all. You know, we know it's still there. So I think it's easy to manipulate things, right? With disinformation, with hacking voting machines, right? With just there's so many ways to, you know, jig the system. So I just think, yeah, why even put it to a vote? Give motherfuckers a voice. Right? Give them a voice. They've been oppressed for all these fucking years. You know, do the right thing and just give people a motherfucking voice.